because these people can't spot talent. Spotting talent is damn hard to begin with. Even if you're like sparing no expense and really doing it properly with experts, it's very hard. Now, on top of that, these people are trying to do it on a budget, and they're trying to do it with entry-level employees, which are what most recruiters are. So you tell me, does that sound like it's going to be very successful? No, it isn't. Now, they get around that by, they don't admit this, but they don't actually look for the best employee. It's almost impossible for them to determine who is the best employee. So what they're looking for is the least risky employee. That they have more success at. You see, they do that by very simple checks. So for example, if they say we need someone with these skills and this education and this experience, and you send them a resume where you don't have any of those things, that's pretty clear that they shouldn't really consider you. But let's say you send in a resume that you say you have those things. They bring you in for an interview. They ask you a couple of basic questions about how to do these things that you said you did, and you can't answer them. Well, that's probably a red flag, so they just eliminate you there. Then, if you go down to the interview and you look hostile, you look upset, it's really not clicking on a personal level between you and them, they'll eliminate you for that, right? Especially if there's many candidates. So if you say you've got a work gap, if they look on your resume and it says, oh, there's a period of 3 years where you weren't working. Now, they don't know why that is. You say you were taking care of a sick family member. Sure, but anyone can say that. Is that a lie? Is it the truth? They don't know. They know they don't know. So they just regard you as riskier because you weren't working for 3 years. Maybe there's a reason why you weren't working for 3 years. Maybe you're a terrible employee and no one will hire you. They don't know. So to play it safe, right? That's the name of the game, because they're trying to find the safest candidate. They eliminate you, or they, deprioritize you, right? This is what they do. This is why they do it, because in the end, they try and find the least risky candidate. That's if you go through recruiters. The good news is that most people don't go through recruiters. That's why getting a job through networking is really good. That's why most people who have jobs have gotten it through some form of networking. Maybe in your family, you might know of a family member that, they got hired at a place because maybe they had a previous coworker that ended up working there, and that person brought them to the attention of the hiring manager. And they didn't hire them because they knew them, but they considered them on the recommendation of one of their employees that says, I've worked with this person, they're pretty good, you should check them out. So based on that, they were given a chance and they seemed fine. So they were hired. You may know people that describes a job they're working in now, or you yourself might have that, right? That's a form of networking. A personal recommendation from someone that you regard as reliable is quite valuable. When people send in applications, if you're the recruiter or the hiring manager, you don't know if these people are they psychopaths? Are they criminals? Are they they're falsifying their entire resume? You don't know. Who are these people? Are they people that are actually working for your competitors that are going to come in and, it's like a form of industrial espionage. They get on the inside of your company and they take all your stuff and then they leave, or observe a whole bunch of things and then leave. Right? This stuff actually happens. So if you have a trusted employee that you've worked with for years, that you get along with, that they're dedicated to the company, you can rely on them, and you get along really well, and they say, hey, I recommend this person, you should check them out. They're really good. Are you going to just, no? You're just going to refuse? No, I'm going to go with a complete stranger who I don't know, who could have falsified everything I do know about them. Right? They can't tell. They're not looking for the best worker. Okay? So the other thing is that to make this even more impossible for them, like I mentioned, most recruiters, they're completely unfamiliar with the job that they're hiring for. They never worked in that job. So if a recruiter who went to school for learning labor laws and stuff like that, they're having to fill an accounting position and they're talking to one candidate and another candidate. These people are professional accountants with years of experience. How would the recruiter know, like, oh, you're a better accountant than you? They wouldn't, right? And that's why this process is also highly biased to people who can talk a good game. If you can make a good impression in a job interview, it's highly biased to people who can do that. And if you're talking to a recruiter that knows nothing about accounting, but you can convince them that you seem to know your stuff, you can end up being chosen over someone that would actually be a much better employee, but maybe they can't sell themselves as well. What's the solution? Like, this sounds very depressing. Why is this actually good news? It's because you can go around it. You don't have to do this. Most people do. Why do you not hear about that too often? It's because who's talking about this usually? Recruiters. Those are the people that are talking about how to get a job. And it's a conflict of interest for a recruiter to say, you shouldn't go through a recruiter. They're not going to tell you that. But do your own research. Don't take my word for anything, okay? Just go and investigate this stuff. There's many ways to get a job. This process, especially these days, of like submitting an application and going in with 1,000 other applicants and trying to elevate yourself above the crowd. Maybe you're not suited to play that game, but that's okay because you don't have to.